G'day everyone, welcome to my build of the KTM 125 SX. Before we get started, let's take a quick look at the bike before the build commences. Let's have a quick listen to the bike just before it gets torn apart. Okay, let's get cracking. Okay, I began by removing the seat and the tank to gain access to the top of the engine. You can see the sides, covers coming off the radiators, just removing some more of the plastics. Took the exhaust off as well, the power pipe chamber. I'm draining the coolant at the moment, right now, so got coolant all over the floor, which wasn't ideal. Just taking off the spark plug, the cylinder head. I'm just trying to suss out a way to get to the cylinder head. I think I had to take out the center radiator hose between the two radiators. Yeah, some more plastics, and the rear subframe comes off. I think there was a cover there on that side of the frame, the rear of the frame just behind the shock. I've got those 3 little plastic containers, and most of the stuff fitted in there, but the plastics I decided just to throw into the shed. Taking off the handlebar controls and getting rid of those roost reflectors. Just taking out the throttle, trying to get the throttle cable out so I can pull out the carbies already out. Got the brake line off as well. Yeah, you can see me just disconnecting the electrics now, so everything from the CDI unit down towards the stator cover. Just disconnecting all the electrics. Took the clutch cover off there, just removing the clutch. Oh, sorry, the throttle's still attached, and so the brake is still attached. You can see there. Just rinsing out the coolant. Just making sure I've got all that water out before the top of the cylinder comes off. Pull off the radiators. Now try to attempt to remove the cylinder head. So the spark plug's still in there. I've got the cylinder head off. Putting all the bolts into a little carry case, and I'm labeling everything so I don't get anything mixed up, and I can refer to them in the future as well. Just trying to now remove the cylinder. There it comes off. The piston was in pretty good condition. The bike was running a little rich, so the piston was quite clean. Yeah, just trying to Put a rag in just above the con rod there, just to make sure that nothing falls in the engine. I will be pulling the engine apart at some stage in order to split. I've got to split the cases so I can send the engine off for hydroblasting and just paint a little bit as well. I think I'm just trying to undo, just doing the brake caliper hose here, the front brake caliper hose. So I'll pull that off in a second as well. And I think I left it about here for the day. I'm just starting to pack everything up. The next morning I decided to take off the power valve to remove all the internal components, and I'm just going to give it a quick clean, just giving it a quick clean. I've never pulled off a power valve off a 125 engine before, so I was taking lots of photos just to make sure that I know where everything goes and how it all goes back later on, so that should be fun. Just removing all the gaskets. I struggled with the actual power valve itself inside of the exhaust assembly there. I couldn't get it out for the life of me, so I just sort of left it in there when I sent it off hydroblasting. This is day 3 of taking apart the bike. I was sort of a bit busy as well. I took the handlebars off, as you can see. I'll be replacing those at some stage as well with some new ones, because those ones are pretty tattered. Front wheel and the front fork guards come off. Just loosening up the lower triple clamps and the upper triple clamps to remove the forks. Actually left the handlebar riser mounts, actually left them on there before, after pulling off the triple clamp, and then realized that I need to put the top triple clamp back on in order to get it off. So here I am putting the top triple back on, and these mounting bolts for the handlebar risers were really stiff, so it took quite a bit of leverage, and they were just simple Allen key heads, so that was easy enough. Loosening off the bottom triple clamp, just going to pull that out. Had a quick look at it. It didn't look too bad. The actual bearings looked pretty good. There were plenty of grease in it. I tried to remove the steering, just cleaning out the inside of the steering hub there. I tried to remove the steering races actually, but I couldn't do it. Here you can see me using some heat, but I couldn't actually remove them, so I left them in there. The frame is actually going to go off it's out at the moment getting powder coated, so I'll get that back sometime next week. In the meantime I decided just to strip apart the engine, so this weekend I'll hopefully be trying to remove all the components from inside the engine and then sending that off to the hydroblaster sometime next week. Here you can see, just going to remove the rear wheel, so I took the chain off, loosen all the bolts by the side of the rear caliper. Had to use the impact wrench actually to try and get that rear axle nut off. It's pretty bad. Just going to get the shock off as well. The rear shock comes off. Taking the rear swing arm off also. That's going to get hydroblasted, the rear swing arm. So the frame's going to be powder coated and the rear swing arm's going to be hydroblasted. So I've already gotten some stuff back from the hydroblaster. The cylinder head, the carburetor and the actual cylinder have come back as well from the hydroblaster, and they look absolutely amazing. So I'm going to take the subframe over the weekend to the hydroblaster as well and get him to do that, because apparently you get some pretty good results with those. So just loosening off the Kickstarter before I actually remove the engine here. Taking apart the rear brake as well. I've already removed the caliper before and the hose. Just removing the Kickstarter, or loosening the Kickstarter, the chain guard as well, just loosening that. Sorry about the angle here. I just had my GoPro sitting on top of the workbench and I didn't actually know how high or low it's going to look, so I'll have to adjust that for future videos. So the engine's off. Here you can see I'm just going to drain the oil out of the engine and the coolant from the other side. It's got a drain pan there. The engine was the engine drain bolt, the oil drain bolt was actually quite it was quite hard to come off, so I actually had to use an impact wrench to get that out too. But there was no physical damage that came out of the oil, which is good. The magnet on the side of the oil drain bolt was pretty clean. There was a few file shavings there, but they were just shavings, so nothing to be too concerned about. Just give the oil pan a quick clean with degreaser and just wipe it out with some paper towel just before I get the rest of the water out. It wasn't a lot of water because I'd already drained the cooling system before. Yeah, so we'll leave it there for now. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.